Continuing, what I'd like to show you is how a brief review on creating a map within the ArcGIS Online application, making an online map using the Esri application for that. Again, the information can be found at arcgis.com, and I really like their startup screen. In order for me to create maps and share them and put things out on the web, I do need to have an account, which I believe all of you have already created. You have to find that little piece of paper where you wrote down your password and your username and stuff. So I can sign in. Fortunately, I get to use the same computer every day, and it remembers my sign-in information. And it will bring me back to a probably to an administrator page, because I'm the master of this particular organization. What I need to do now in order to begin to develop a map is to find data, and there are several ways to find data. One of them is to use my own data, which I've downloaded and prepared and put up in the cloud, which is something I showed in a previous video as well. How to get data into the cloud is one of the things. You need to create a zip archive of the shapefile and then ask the data to be added, to add item, to add it to the cloud, the Esri arcgis.com cloud, so that that data set is available. And that's one way to get data available for web mapping, is to prepare it or find it using whatever tools on the desktop that you're used to. Prepare a nice clean shapefile, make it into a zip archive, and then put it into the cloud. And that's what I've done. And in this folder of my own workspace, I have the big earthquake risk, which shows just the biggest areas of risk. I have a states shapefile for a reference map, and I have the census tracts in the New Madrid seismic zone also. So now I have the ability, I have some data sets right here which can allow me to create a new map without too much trouble. There's also the opportunity to use maps or data sets that are already in the cloud, and I'll briefly demonstrate that too along the way to this project, is to show how to get something out of the cloud. But right now, data sets are going to come from my own desktop, where I downloaded and processed some data sets and then put them in the cloud, and I'll make use of at least one data set that somebody else has prepared and put in the cloud. So this whole mapping on the web is a very collaborative, cooperative effort, where information and mapping come from all over the place and everything gets shared. It really multiplies people's capabilities to be able to do that. To start a new map, we click on the map tab, and it gives us a new map palette. And a first step I can do is to add, and I can search for layers. I can add a layer to this map directly from my desktop, but that data layer will not be in the cloud. It will not be available to anybody else, and it may be problematic for somebody else to use in a story map. But I could, if I could, take a zipped shapefile right off of the computer that I'm sitting at and put it into this map. That would be called add layer from file. I can add a layer from the web if I already know where it is. I can look at a very tidy and what we call curated or managed group of data sets called the Living Atlas, which is a very nice place to find information. It's provided by Esri, and it provides us with several hundred, I believe, of the most commonly desired data layers, and that's often serving for base maps. I'm just sampling what some of these are, and there's a good variety of them. Often they're most useful for base mapping. For instance, time zones. That just may turn out to be a handy reference layer. USA average household income, USA national parks, national forests, etc. Weather warnings. This is a group of reliable, well-constructed data sets that could become part of my map. And finally, I can also, if I'm completely at a loss, I can also search for layers. And I can search my own organization for my own group of layers. And in the SUNY Brockport organization, most of the data sets that are in the web are mine, that I've put there for teaching and research of my own. We'll establish places, folders for you to put those in shortly. So what I want to start with, however, is I'd like to search the entire ArcGIS Online, which are data sets that are have been put in the cloud by ArcGIS Online users, so they're compatible with and appropriate for ArcGIS Online users. I warn you that they are not curated, so anybody can put one of these layers up, and there are hundreds of thousands of layers, and they may be useful, they may be accurate, they may be too detailed, they may not be. So these are to be taken with a grain of salt. However, this is probably the best collection, the broadest collection of available layers. And what I'd like to use, for reasons that I will say in a moment, is the Social Vulnerability Index, which I mentioned in the previous video. Social Vulnerability Index is well discussed in a previous video. It's a large data set, and instead of me paying my precious credits to store this in the cloud, and have to maintain it, I'm going to use a copy of the Social Vulnerability Index that is maintained by Esri, the company that runs this. So if they're going to host it and save all that data up there, I might as well just go ahead and use it. I click on it, I say Add to Map, and what I have in front of me is the, and I think I'm going to zoom to continental United States. This is the Social Vulnerability Index across the United States, and it has its own symbology, which I can't change, but it does serve as a layer, and it's a usable layer for me, and it can begin to be the basis of a map. Another thing I'd like to add to this map is the earthquake risk, and in this case I am going to look for all of the oh dear, now I'm going to make sure if I can remember how to find it. I can look for the, and I have to remember my keywords or the name of the file I want to use. So even in a brand new environment, the same old story of where's my stuff emerges again. But I remember I called it earthquake. This is a data file that I created and put into the cloud, and there it is with the default symbology. And what this shows is now the Social Vulnerability Index on top of, below, the earthquake risk index in an online map. And the online mapping does not have the capability of really extensive analysis or really fancy cartography that a desktop version has. So this map needs some re-symbolization. First I say done adding layers. This map could do with some re-symbolization. For instance, I can show the the values of the acceleration values in many different forms of, oh boy, I can do too many polygons, colors. There's a whole wide variety of ways that I can show. That'll do for now. I'll take that as a good default. There's a variety of ways that I can symbolize the layers in ArcGIS Online, and it takes experimentation, takes a little experience, a little practice, maybe a little artistic or style, personality characteristic. But anyway, this is a simple map right here, and I'm going to jump ahead and show this map in the form that I decided was the best view for this single map that shows the location of high earthquake risk in the United States. And the final step would be, in this case, to do two things, very important things. I've rambled more than my 10 minutes in this video, but two very important things. Once I've prepared a map that I like, it needs to be saved, which I already have done. And the saving process for a new map will ask you to give it a name and some search keywords for it. And I would also like to share this particular map with everybody, the public, so that anybody can look at my map and anybody can look at the Story Map project, which includes this particular map. So this map has been saved and shared, and now it is available to everybody, anywhere, who looks up Zalweg EQ risk will be able to find this map and use it. So that's something that's of use. And I'm going to break here before I go on to the final video in this sequence.